And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again across the Louisiana plain, where we are elevating the cause of constitutional conservatism in Louisiana, elevating the cause of constitutional conservative citizens across the state, and rapidly now draining the Louisiana swamp. My name is Chris.
And I'm Danielle, and this is the State of Freedom, brought to you by freedom-loving Louisiana First Patriots. Hello, State of Freedom warriors. Thank you for inviting us to be part of your day. We are so grateful for you. You're the best listening family anyone could possibly hope for, and we are only here because of your encouragement, your prayers, and your financial support. If you are looking for a way to support us, to advertise with us, or to send us feedback, please visit our website at freedomstate.us. We'd really appreciate it if you'd also help us get the word out and spread the reach of the State of Freedom. Please like the show on whatever platform you listen to us, subscribe to it, and share it. You can share short clips instead of the full episodes from our YouTube and Rumble channels, and links to those are always in the show notes and over on freedomstate.us. Moms for Liberty East Baton Rouge Parish Chapter is dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend and take back their parental rights at all levels of government. To learn more or to get involved with Moms for Liberty East Baton Rouge, email momsforlibertybatonrouge@gmail.com. That's moms, the number 4, Liberty Baton Rouge @gmail.com. The email address is on the Patriot page of our website, freedomstate.us, and it's in the show notes. Our guest today has been a longtime public servant in Louisiana, and now he has his sights set on representing us in Washington. We are very much looking forward to our conversation with the one and only Elbert Guillory. Before we bring him on, let me read the scripture of the day. It's Proverbs chapter 16, verses 3-4. And it says, "Before you do anything, put your trust totally in God and not in yourself. Then every plan you make will succeed. The Lord works everything together to accomplish his purpose. Even the wicked are included in his plans. He sets them aside for the day of disaster." And this morning's scripture was a great encouragement to me as I'm thinking about how we grow and adapt the State of Freedom and other projects that we're working on. I needed a reminder that it doesn't all depend on me and my wisdom. When we commit our work and bring our questions and challenges to the Lord, he is so faithful to open the doors and open the paths for us. He gives us wisdom. He gives us the revelation we need to make the right choices and to take the right steps. And he does not waste anything. Even those who are committed to evil become part of his plan to advance his purposes. And with a God like that caring for us, guiding us, and protecting us, who do we have to fear? What do we have to fear? Change is absolutely inevitable, but only God can make it all work for our good.
Change is inevitable, but change that's orchestrated by God always works to our benefit. I think it's interesting, Danielle, that the evil and the wicked are also included in God's plans. It prepares them for the day of disaster. But the first thing we do is seek him, seek his face, and then even during times and moments when we don't understand things, he's always working things for our benefit and ultimately for his glory. And someone who knows that is, no question about it, the iconic Elbert Guillory, former state representative and state senator in the great state of Louisiana from over in St. Landry. Elbert now running for the newly created 6th Congressional District. Elbert, we are behind you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, and it is a great joy to be here with you. It's also a great joy to hear Proverbs this morning. I love Proverbs. The great message that I take from Proverbs is that put it all in God's hands. If you don't need to worry, you don't need to fret. Just put it in his hands.
Yeah.
So well said. And it's easier said than done.
It is easier said than done, and sometimes we just have to jump off and say, Lord, this is yours. This belongs to you. Just guide me along the right path. Elbert, question for you, Elbert, right off the bat. This new 6th district that you've made the announcement that you're running in, what do you think about this new map? What areas of the state parishes does it include?
Whew. It includes 9 or 10 parishes, parts of 9 or 10 parishes. I think there are about 3 parishes that are fully in the district: St. Landry, Natchitoches, 1 or 2 others, maybe. It's a crazy district. It looks like a snake that runs across Louisiana. It is patently illegal. It will not stand. The Supreme Court is going to throw it out. And they will not do that until sometime after this election. So what we do now is to choose someone who will sit at least for 2 years in this district, and then we'll see what happens next. But it's a sad thing. It's a product of the racial illness that affects America.
Yeah, I think it does, Elbert. There's no question about that. The argument, of course, in the legislature on the part of the Democrats, particularly the African American Democrats, was that this is not all about race. It's not all about race, but when you look at how it's drawn up, it clearly is based upon the racial demographic. There's little or no question about it. I agree with you that it will be declared ultimately unconstitutional. You know, a hybrid panel of the Fifth Circuit with a U.S. district judge has already declared it unconstitutional, and the U.S. Supreme Court has refused right now to look at it because they say it's too close to the election. But ultimately, you're probably right. It will be declared unconstitutional. But in the meantime, you seem to be pretty well situated, well poised as a Black Republican, a very sensible man with significant name ID in your district to take this seat. What are your thoughts on it, and what made you decide to run for this seat at this time?
I believe that our country right now we're close to losing it. We're close to losing America. There's several things that really are attacking us, and I'll get into those a little later with your permission. But that's why I have grandchildren. You have grandchildren, or will have grandchildren, and we have to leave a better world for them, a safer America, an America that is more prosperous, and it continues to guarantee opportunity. There's no place on earth that guarantees opportunity like the United States of America. Here you have the opportunity to work, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to succeed. And that's what it's about. We've got to protect it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We look at the country and see disarray basically everywhere we look and every quarter. What issues are rising to the top for you in terms of things that you would want to address as the representative for this new short-lived 6th District?
My biggest issue would be the economy and the federal spending that is making a shambles of the American economy. Gasoline up, housing costs up, electricity, eggs, milk. Life is very difficult for a lot of American families right now. So we have to do that. But at the same time, we're spending money like, I could say drunken sailors because I'm a former Navy veteran, but drunken sailors have never, ever spent money like the people who are in Washington, D.C. right now. We've got to stop that. We're spending billions of dollars all over the world at the very time when we can least afford it. Our streets and roads are crumbling. Our veterans are sleeping under bridges. And we're giving billions of dollars away.
Money that we don't have, Elbert. Money that we truly do not have.
Yes.
This country is many, many trillions of dollars in debt right now.
You're right. We're borrowing money to spend and give it to other people.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Have you seen that meme where they say, if you can just keep printing money, why do I have to pay taxes?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's answered it.
No one
and
can
nobody's
answer
it. One of the things that I've always admired about you, Elbert, is the fact that over the course of your career, even when you were a Democrat. Well, first you were Republican, then you became a Democrat when you first ran for the state rep, and then in around 2013 you became a Republican again. But during your career, throughout your career, you've always maintained your constitutional conservative principles. None of the party switch that you've made were made for generally for political reasons. When you became a Republican again, it was because you felt like the Democrat Party truly had abandoned the citizens of Louisiana, and you've called the Democrat Party of Jim Crow in the way that the national party is run, is organized. What is it that you think distinguishes your primary opponent here is Cleo Fields, and he is a die-in-the-wool, long-time Democrat. No question about it. He makes no apologies about it. What distinguishes you principally that you want the voters in the new 6th District to know about, even the Democrat voters to know about you and that distinguish you from Cleo Fields?
I am a straight up old country boy, and I have the values of a straight up old country boy. I've always lived by the values and voted the values. My mom and my daddy. There will come a day when I move from this earth and go to meet my maker. And before I get to see the Lord, my mom and daddy are going to be standing there at the gate, and I have to look them in the eye first. So I have to be true to those values. I have to be honest, and I have to do good common sense things, make good common sense decisions. That's really it. I have integrity. In 55 years of law and politics, I've had many opportunities to sell out. My integrity is not for sale. I am uncompromising when it comes to what I believe in, and what I believe in is my God, my country, and common sense.
And we are lacking, Elbert, both on the state and on the national level, common sense, spending money that we clearly do not have, trying to act as though this gender identity nonsense, the radical abortion that is promoted by the National Democrat Party. There's so many things. The idea that the Democrats in the U.S. Congress right now would oppose requiring proof of citizenship to be able to vote in an election. 40 or 50 years ago, I can assure you there would have been few Democrats on Capitol Hill that would have opposed that. It just seems like it's gone so far left. I would imagine there are some good thinking Democrats in the 6th District who agree with you on a number of issues and probably very much disagree with Cleo Fields on those same issues. Are you going to be able to highlight some of those differences to your constituents?
Yes, we will. I know Mr. Fields, and I've known him for a long time. He's a nice man. We are so different. We're so different when it comes to policies and to our the roots, our intellectual, our political roots.
You are that.
I think that people will see a difference.
You are absolutely different in him, and he is a nice person. But again, if you're able to get the message to the voters in the 6th District as it's currently configured, I would imagine that you can pull a significant number of Democrat votes in that district, because many of them are very pro-life. Many of them do have the kind of common sense that you're talking about. Many of them see the very same things happening to our state and country and are just as concerned by those things as we are. The fact that they happen to be Democrats, in my view, does not mean that they will not support you if they know who you are and what you represent.
Yeah, and we see that Trump is pulling a lot of support from the Black and minority communities across the country. Do you expect that will help your race? Are you getting good response or better response from minority communities than you had in previous races as a Republican?
Yes, absolutely. I think that finally we are turning the corner and instead moving beyond party, but to who can resolve problems. The people who've been there, who've run the major cities of America, for example, have not addressed the issue of crime. They've not protected the people from crime. They've not addressed the issues of education. They've not protected our children from ignorance, from rotten education. So they're beginning to say, wait, they didn't do it. We got to get someone who's going to do the jobs. And so Trump is getting major support. And I believe many people are beginning to look at the Republican Party, at least as an alternative, someone who can maybe get the job done.
Yeah. I'm excited to share a fantastic opportunity for State of Freedom listeners who are interested in investing in precious metals or even starting a home-based business in the precious metals industry. Metal Stacks is a precious metals collectors club where you can buy your metals at the best prices on the market, actual dealer cost. They are beating the big sites. They have no credit card fees and no minimums. If you're just interested in purchasing metals at a great price, visit metalstacks.com/dwalker. Get to shopping, that helps me out. I get the commission. You can also refer people to Metal Stacks for an additional income. If you're interested in learning about the referral business aspect of Metal Stacks, email me directly at Danielle@freedomstate.us for more information. I've grown so tired of party politics because honestly, both parties have failed the country in spectacular fashion as far as I'm concerned. I really think that we need to get back to looking at candidates, and candidates just need to be able to put forth their own platforms. We shouldn't have to rely on some national party to tell us, what to think about certain issues. People need to line up and have their own minds again.
Unfortunately, the media is a tool of one party, and they just blare out propaganda for positions. Right now, we're working on the SAVE Act. This act would do two things. It would require that anyone who registers to vote in the United States of America has to prove that they are a citizen of the United States of America. Seems like a common sense thing. And secondly, it will require that every state scrub its voter rolls of people who are not American citizens.
Those two issues, Elbert, those two issues right there are so critically important. And, again, as I said earlier, the SAVE Act is being opposed on the national level by the National Democrat Party, and I would like to know where Senator Fields stands on that issue, because if he's going to secure funding from the National Democrat Party, if he's going to fall in lockstep with them, he's going to have to come out in opposition to that. There's nothing more fundamental than requiring proof of citizenship to be able to vote in elections in the United States. So you're on record supporting the SAVE Act. I know you strongly support it. And that is an issue that should be brought to the potential voters, to the voters in the 6th District. Because I can assure you that a substantial majority of both Republicans and Democrats in that district would probably be perplexed at the idea that there's a problem with requiring proof of American citizenship to participate in an American election. And I'm so glad that you highlighted that issue.
There's another one that I'd really like to highlight, and that's federal spending. Federal spending just drives me up a tree to spend billions and billions in foreign countries when we are in such great need, elders in such great need. The government has told the elderly that in just a few years, in a decade or so, we won't be able to pay Social Security anymore. But we're spending billions and billions and billions all over everywhere instead of shoring up security. So the people who placed their money into, they didn't. The government took their money out of their paychecks and said, look, when you retire, we're going to give you a pension. And now the government is threatening to renege on its promise while it's spending billions across the waters. Help me to understand. I can't. I'm just a poor country boy trying to make some common sense of this, and that's not common sense.
It's not common sense. I mean, far outstripped mortgaging our futures in the way that they have been spending just completely recklessly and without regard for the citizens of this country. As you've said, I mean, they're sending so much money to Ukraine. And I think it was Joe Rogan highlighted recently that, what about the people in Maui? What about the people who are in Texas right now, trying to recover from a hurricane? The people are being left out, hung out to dry, while the government has a field day just spending on things that don't even matter to us.
It is. Yes, I couldn't agree more. And Danielle, you've talked about the military industrial complex. And that's what President Eisenhower warned us against when elite bureaucrats and military officials and government contractors begin to realize that they can profit off of war. Well, then what are they going to do? They're going to try to engage in more and more conflicts throughout the world, whether or not they are in the best interest of the American people. And it's so very true. The military industrial complex is something that is such a menace. Elbert, I'm sure you would agree with that.
That is absolutely correct. I've spoken frequently about the problem of the military industrial complex. A perfect example is Korea. We have 30,000 troops and many, many billions of dollars of equipment there. And there's no reason, there's no national issue for us to be in Korea. If it turned communist overnight, or what happened in Vietnam, if that kind of solution were to come into existence, it would not harm America or Americans. It's not our business. And we're spending billions of dollars every year to shore up that military presence, our military presence in Korea. But that's only one of many, 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 many examples.
Yes, one of many examples, and our founding fathers warned us, Albert, against going about the world looking for dragons to slay. We're not the world's policemen, and the notion that we are is what has gotten hundreds of thousands of our young men killed, and has a huge contributor to the national debt that we have. It's time for us to start paying attention to the issues that fundamentally concern American citizens and stop trying to be the world's policeman. I couldn't agree with you more, but I want to shift gears for just a second. As of now in your race, by the way, I'm sure that, Senator Fields, there's no reason to believe based on his track record that he would not be more of the same, that he would go to Washington, D.C., and fall in line with the national Democrat priorities. There's every reason to believe that. But about your race particularly, is there anyone in your race currently besides Senator Fields?
There are two Democrats. One is a young lawyer from up the northern part of the state. I don't know his name yet, but they are also in the race.
Yeah. Well, I'm asking you because it seems like if there's more than just Cleo Fields, if there are a couple of other Democrats in the race, that could benefit you if he's splitting up Democrat vote in the district. What do you think?
I'm very happy to see that Senator Fields has some
a little competition,
some opposition on his side. I just hope that we can keep all of the Republicans out and present a unified Republican force.
Yeah, I hope we can keep the Republicans out as well, because as it's currently situated, you as a black Republican and as a conservative and as a common sense thinker, to me and to us, you are the guy who has the best chance of winning it. And I certainly hope that Republicans are not infighting and that you're not competing against other Republicans in the race. I think that would be a really bad thing.
Yeah. And Elbert, we recently saw that the RNC really downgraded its commitment to protect the unborn, and that's been disappointing to many of us. I know you mentioned before we came on the show that you are a Baptist preacher. Where do you stand on the issue of life, and how do you view the RNC's downgraded commitment to life?
If I may give you a minute and a half answer.
Go for it.
Margaret Sanger said, Negroes are the weeds of society and needed to be exterminated. She came up with her Negro Project. That project meant that Planned Parenthood, her organization, would put abortion clinics all across Black and brown communities across America. 5 times more Black babies were aborted. The Klan once told me that Planned Parenthood doctors should not wear white coats. They should wear white sheets, because Planned Parenthood, in any one single year, Planned Parenthood killed more Black lives than the Klan did from its very existence in 1880s until today. During all of that time.
And not a whole lot of people, Elbert, to be honest with you, there are not many people who understand the history of Margaret Sanger and exactly what she stood for. She basically stood for racial genocide and
eugenics.
Yes, racial eugenics, and the idea of terminating as many unborn Black children as possible. And the idea that you know who she is and are aware of her history is very, very good and very impressive. But you are 100% pro-life, correct?
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, because our listeners are pro-life, our listeners consider the defenseless unborn as really the most defenseless members of our society. And we need someone strong in Washington, D.C. who will stand up and represent the interests of the unborn, especially with such a thin Republican majority in the Congress now. We cannot be playing around with this.
You're absolutely correct. See, this Louisiana 6th District is crucial, not just to us, but not just to Louisiana, but to all of America, because one loss of a seat in the House of Representatives could lose the speakership, we could lose the majority, and turn this back over to the wild spending, warmongering Democrats. And I can promise you, they plan to have some abortion reinstated. They're going to overrule the Supreme Court legislatively. That is their intention.
They're certainly going to do all they can, Elbert. No question about that. Which is why we have to have a strong leader there, and this seat is just critically important to that end.
It absolutely is. Well, Elbert, what can people do to support your campaign, and where can they follow you and find out more about your platform?
Elbert Guillory, YouTube, Elbert Guillory, Facebook, and there will be pages directing you. Also, we have a website up, Elbert Guillory for Congress. There's a QR code and all of those modern things. So please, please use those. Please send us your prayers and please send us some money. This is a serious battle. We are engaged in it. And we do. When I say prayers and money, I'm serious. We need both of those to fight this battle.
You do. You do. And you are going to be working hard. I know how you are. You're going to be out there pounding the pavement, working hard, getting the word out. We support you here 100%, and we will have you back on again as the campaign progresses. God bless you, Elbert. Godspeed, and keep working hard. And hopefully, come November, we've got a Congressman Elbert Guillory representing the interests of Louisiana citizens in Washington, D.C.
I promise with my last breath. Thank you so much.
God bless you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
God bless you. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. In his name.
Amen. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The State of Freedom. To stay on top of all the calls to action we mentioned today, just check out the show notes for the episode. If you'd like to support the show financially, visit our website at freedomstate.us. If you'd prefer to give by mail, you can send a check to The State of Freedom, LLC at P.O. Box 861, Berg, Louisiana 70343. If you own a business in Louisiana and are interested in supporting our show by advertising, please email us at info@freedomstate.us. To get involved with Louisiana Citizen Advocacy Group, visit LACAG.org, LACAG.org, or email chris@lacag.org. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe and share it. Give us a 5-star rating in the reviews. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time.